Right. So, a very good afternoon to all the learners who are present here today. And as you all know, we are basically having the problem solving sessions for the particular course of NPTEL. The course name is Understanding Incubation in Entrepreneurship. And today we are meeting for the week 11 content, wherein we'll be discussing the content, we'll be doing a content recap, followed by the questions which are based on the week 11th content but which are different from your live assignments, right? So that is how we have been progressing in this 12-week journey, and we have now reached the 11th week, right? So we have covered a lot of distance, we have covered a lot of content, we have seen how the course introduced the learners to various aspects, right from talking about what entrepreneurship is, what evidence-based entrepreneurship is, the different incubators, the different facilities wherein one can present their ideas. If they are found eligible, they can pursue their programs under such schemes, whether it is Sign Incubator or the CFHE, at the IT Hyderabad, right? So we came to know, I mean, all these the incubators, the support systems, the organizations which help startups, which give you handholding, which mentor you, which who connects you to the relevant stakeholders. That is all what we have discussed, including lots of case studies, the methods of innovation. So it's a very beautifully curated course, understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. And I hope you all are liking it, understanding it, making great use of it. What I mean by making great use of it is that you are going through the content, you are also attempting the weekly assignments, which are basically in the form of quizzes, and you are actively participating in the course, right? So, with that brief heads up, let us begin our session for today. I'll be sharing my screen, and that's how we proceed further. Just check if the recording is proceeding. Yes, it is proceeding. I'll put my screen on share, and if any one of you can please let me know if we have, if you are able to see the screen, it is audible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
All right, thank you so much. So once again, let me welcome you to this particular course, understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. And as I mentioned you, we are now reaching the week 11th of our journey. It's a 12-week journey, so we are now inching towards the closure of the content. Uh, Let me briefly describe about myself. My name is Abhishek, and basically, I am a TA for this particular course. Talking my background, I did my Bachelor's of Architecture, which is a 5-year course, and then Masters of Design, which is a 2 years course. So this pertains to my architectural background. By architecture, we mean the built environment, and here this was on industrial design, and this happened around 2006 to 11, and this was around 2011 to 13. Both of them were pursued at SPA Delhi, which is a CFTI, which is Centrally Funded Technical Institution based out of Delhi. Right. Immediately after completing my master's, I joined a company called Infosys. It's an IT giant, and I was placed in the Bangalore division of the company as a user interface designer. And after that, I joined Think Design Studio, which is again a IT company. It's a based and service based company, but it is now primarily into user experience. I joined here in Delhi. Then I had my own startup, which was the Vidava Design. It was again based out of Delhi. And slowly I started teaching as well. So I joined the Department of Industrial Design at SPA Delhi, and followed by I joined World University of Design in Sonipat, and thereafter I joined UP Institute of Design in Noida. So this entire journey was of around 8 plus years, and since the last 3.5 years, I am pursuing PhD at the Department of Design at IIT Roorkee. Right. So this is a brief background of mine. This pertains to the professional journey. This pertains to the academic journey as an educator, and this is where I began my doctoral journey. All right. So all these live sessions, they are basically to help you in the current run of course. We'll be discussing and solving the week specific assignments. So today we'll be doing it for the week 11th. We have a set of 10 questions followed by 10 more questions. So in and all today we'll be having a complete set of 20 questions to discuss and to understand the correct answers of them. And please note that these questions are different from the live assignment, because the live assignment questions you need to attempt it, and these are graded. You get certain marks out of it. But here, these 20 questions, these are not graded, no marking are required. The idea here is that we are basically trying to help you evaluate your understanding of the content, and also to make you realize what are the different ways in which questions can be framed. Right. What we also do is we respond to the questions and queries, and we do a content recap of the ongoing week. So today we will be doing the content recap of the 11th week. All right. So basically what we are doing currently is we are going through the set of protocol slides. Now, if you have attended my sessions in previous, you would be knowing what it basically means. If not, let me quickly remind you. So these set of protocol slides are basically the slides in which I repeat certain part of the presentation in each of my presentations. And the idea is that a new learner can join in any of these sessions. So even if a new learner joins in just one session, at least the entire flow of presentation is very well understood. Okay. Another aspect is that I've started introducing content recap, because I realized that many times a student would look at the content probably a week before, and then when they are attending the session, they might forget certain bits and pieces of the presentation. So the idea of having a content recap is that it will help you remind you, and give you a brief glimpse into what was covered in the content. All right. Now, during the live session, we request everybody to keep their mic on mute in order to avoid any noise disturbances, because as you all know, these sessions are being recorded and these shall be uploaded on YouTube as well. Okay. You can unmute and speak if you have any questions, but the preferred platform for questioning is the discussion forum. So there is something called as ask a question. You can utilize this and post your question. How it is helpful is that it is being seen by the TA, that is me, the NPTEL team members, and the enrolled learners. So the moment a learner posts a question, each one of us gets notified, and when the answer is posted, then again we get notified. So in a way, it is a great functionality of using this platform and to get addressal of your queries. Okay. Now, these are the two links which are important. You don't need to note it, but you can see where these are accessible. So if you click here, just below the problem solving session, you'll be able to see a spreadsheet which will have week-wise content. So for each and every week, there will be a specific YouTube link, and all the presentations which are annotated are kept inside this Google Drive folder. Okay. It's a shared folder, and anybody with the link can actually open it. So at one place, that is at one spreadsheet, you get the entire content of all these live sessions, right? So it's a functionality again which is very commendable by the NPTEL team, so that even if a learner is not able to join in any of these sessions, they have a repository wherein Whenever it is convenient for them, they can actually revisit those content, play it, understand it, and also look at all those set of questions which I'm discussing, right? So it by itself becomes a repository of so many questions that, if you prepare them, obviously your exams will be great. All right. Yeah. So the course is Understanding Incubation Entrepreneurship. It is by the instructor, Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, who used to be at the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay, also known as IIT Powai. And he also took care of the Design Innovation Center there. And currently he's at Mahindra University, and he is basically putting effort in establishing the School of Design there in Hyderabad. So the overall course run is 12 weeks, and we are here at the 11th week. And the deadline of week 11 is 8th of October. So you still have got few days left to attempt this. The final examination date is 26th of October, and it will be happening either in the pre-lunch or post-lunch slot. Don't worry about this. Whatever places you have entered while filling the registration form, it will be most probably assigned to one of those locations. All right. So this is a brief glimpse of your progress tab. It comprises of three heads: assessment scores, unit-wise progress, and grading and certification policy. The third point is basically something which we will discuss in our presentation, so I'll not be discussing right now. Unit-wise progress is basically how much content you are consuming. So if you have seen probably 60% of the content, you'll see the bar like this. Uh, and the gray part basically shows the content which you have not seen, the content which is not seen by you. Okay. So this basically helps you reflect upon how much content you have gone through, you have seen through, you have understood, right? And the other aspect is the assessment scores. Now, if you have been submitting your assignments timely, you will be able to see your scoring out of 10, and either it will be out of 10 or out of 100, whatever it is, the percentage will be consumed later on for your certification. Okay. This information, although is gone bad, but still, for the purpose of learning, the course is completely free to learn from. And but if you need a certificate, you'll have to register. For registration, you'll have to pay certain amount of fee, which is for your examination, because you'll be getting a certificate, right? There was a further extension for the exam registration. It was till 22nd of August. But it has not been discussed up till now. So further extension has not been provided. So if you have requested for certification, probably you would have registered for your by the deadline which has been mentioned. Now this certification is was quite critical for those especially who are in college and who are doing it for a credit requirement. Also in some places it might be faculty members or educators who are doing as a part of their FDP, which is the Faculty Development Program. Okay, so in both these cases, the certifications will be required, and henceforth you'll have to sit in the physical examination. Okay, now I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for you to go through this slide, and then I'll explain you what we are trying to say here. All right. So I believe you have gone through the content. It is basically about the criteria of certification, and let me help you elaborate what we are trying to say here. So all these weekly assignments, they become your internals, and the total weightage is 25%. And your overall score needs to be more than 10 marks out of 25. And the best part is we consider only best 8 of the 12 assignments. Okay. Then comes the externals, which is basically the physical method of examination, where you'll be going to a examination venue and you'll be sitting there for the duration of the exam and doing it. So that's why the weightage is 75%, so that your overall weightage is 100%. That's how the marks are calculated. As I mentioned here, it needs to be more than 10. So likewise, there is a case here as well. It needs to be more than 30. Okay. So that your overall score is more than 40. Now, let me explain you a couple of scenarios. And I'm not mentioning this, but to inform you, keep you informed, how it basically works. So, for example, you scored great in this examination. You scored 20 out of 25, but you did not score well enough. You scored 25 out of 75. Your overall score is 45 out of 100. Now, let us see these scenarios. Now, you have managed to get more than 10 marks here, but you have not scored more than 30. However, your overall score is above 40. In this scenario, since you are not meeting one of the criteria, so these are two criteria. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. So, no certification. Another scenario is you did not perform well, but you did exceptionally well in your examination. So, your overall score is 55. Now, what happens here? You are failing in this, but you have managed to pass through this and this. Will you get a certificate? No, no certificate. Okay. So, I'm not here to scare you, but to help you realize the importance of your internals and your externals. You have to diligently, participate in all your, or at least in the 8 of it, because best 8 will be calculated for your marking criteria, right? So please do submit your assignments in due time. There is always a deadline for every week's assignment. And I hope if you are in need of the certification, you are probably submitting it in right on time. Okay. So this is how we have proceeded from week 1 to week 4. If you remember, we started with the very basic of what entrepreneurship is. What do we mean by the evidence-based entrepreneurship? And the Gopal Desh Pandey Center and the STEM colleges, why startups fail. Then we had the journey of Mr. Dinoj. In the week 2, we discussed about the journey of Mustafa from the ID Batter, and then we had 3 members who had participated in one of the GDC programs, and they shared their moments of truth, their highs and their lows, and their experiences of that journey. Week 3 was about understanding the 7 concerns, starting with the cause and ending with the end by Professor Chakku. And week 4 was about the ideas program and the solar one case study by Mr. Avinash, who was an IT Bombay alumni, and then the IT Hyderabad student projects. Week 5 was about healthcare and innovation. And if you remember, we had sessions by Professor B. Ravi, okay, from the Boutique, the running partners, okay. And then we have week 6, wherein we invited 2 experts, both from industry, one from Khoj Labs, Ms. Shilpi, and F1 Studios, Mr. Dhayan, followed by week 7, which was about the business panel converse by Sir Kostop. And then we had week 8, which was about the Sign Incubator, the Lean Model Canvas, and the success story of Atomberg by Mr. Manoj Meena. All right. As we go further in week 9, it was about understanding the various incubation facilities, startup handholding entities which are there in the IT Hyderabad ecosystem, starting with the ITIC, followed by CFHE, and there was one more. It was FabCI, the chip industry one. All right. The week 10 was about corporate to entrepreneurship, creative ideation, a session taken by Professor Chakravarti sir, and building POC by, I think it was Professor Kumaresan. All right. And then finally, we arrived at week 11, which was about the startup project presentations of IT Hyderabad MDes students. Now, just to help you understand, MDes stands for Master of Design. And again, it's a 2-year course wherein the students, either with a design background or from an engineering background, can actually join. So what is happening in these week 11 and week 12 session is that the IIT Hyderabad MA students have formed groups of approximately 4 to 5 members, and they are actually making a presentation as a part of their student project. Right. So these are the two typology of questions which you will frequently encounter. I believe most of you must be aware of it. It is called a radio button question, wherein only single correct answer is there, and you can select only one of them. Correct. A signature, style is the circular shaped buttons. Then you have the square shaped buttons in which there are multiple correct answers. So you can choose two of them, three of them, or all four of them. Right. So these are the mainly two typology of questions which have been presented up till now. But through my questioning, you'll be able to understand how you could use fill in the blanks as well in these two typical types of formatting. Okay. Now here once again, I'll give you a minute to please read through if you have not already gone through it. It is how the marking of multiple choice questions are being conducted in the assignments. So I would request you to take a minute, just read through it, and I'll explain you with an example right now. Would anyone like to respond to this question? The question is, which among the below brands are associated with computer accessories? Okay, which are the brands which are basically associated with computer accessories, which means all the accessories, gadgets related to the computer, be it monitor, be it laptops, desktops, keyboards, mouse, right? So, which among the below are associated with the computer accessories? You have got four options. First one is Dell, then Asus, Nike, and Samsung. So what you can do is you can reply to this question through the Gmeet. You can use the chat button and let me know the correct answers. All right. So we've got one response. Let's see the response. Okay. So the correct answers, as highlighted by one of the learner, is A, B, and D. Very well done. Because Nike is a sports brand, you get footwear, and then you also get some outfits out there. But primarily the correct answer is A, B, and D. Now let us see these scenarios. The first scenario says, first scenario is the ideal scenario. Say if you have submitted A, B, and D, you'll get full marks. If it is one, you'll get 1 out of 1. Okay. Let's take the scenario 2, which says if at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks. So what basically it means is that if you select A, B, C, if you select B, C, D, if you select A, C, D, or if you select A, C, B, C, C, D, in all these scenarios, since you have selected C, which is the incorrect one, you'll not get any marks. You'll get 0 out of 1. Okay. Let's take scenario 3, which says if only correct answers are chosen, but not all correct answers are chosen, then partial marks proportional to the number of correct answers. So basically it means is that, for example, you selected A, B, and then you had a doubt between C and D. Okay, so you did not select them. You selected B and D. You selected A and D. Or in some scenarios, you can also select just one and submit A, B, and D. Now, in none of these scenarios, we have selected C. Okay, so there is no incorrect response. What will happen is if you have selected two of them, but not all three, you will get proportionate marks. Something like this. However, if you selected just one, since it's the correct answer, you'll get the proportional marks. Okay. I believe this part is clear. This is the underlying principles of having marks in decimal. So, in case in your previous assignments which you have submitted, You've got marks in decimal. It is because of this particular underlying logic of marking. All right. Okay. So in the previous week, these were the people who were there. These were the top GMeet learners, Ritesh, Bhavna, and Shobhana Priya. And I believe they could also join in today, but it's perfectly fine because students might have examinations, assignments, their deadlines are there. For professionals, they have another set of engagements. Educators too have marking and things like that. So obviously, it is not a mandate thing to be able to present here in these sessions. But if you are able to join in, please do join in. And for any reason you are not able to join in, then you can obviously revert back to the problem solving sessions spreadsheet, wherein you can uh, have the link and see whichever content you have missed out. Okay. So here is the overview video of the week 11 content, and I'll leave myself with the video. Just it's a few minutes video. Just try to recall what all has been covered, and then we'll proceed further.
So, where do the world's best ideas really come
I'll just try to increase the sound so that there's some clarity there.
So, where do the world's best ideas really come from? You know, it's not some lightning bolt of genius that strikes out of nowhere. It's actually something way more grounded. Today, we're going to step right into a design university classroom and watch the next generation of entrepreneurs get their hands dirty with real-world problems. Okay, let's get into it. These students, they all started with a big mission, right? But what they found out pretty quick is that the road from a cool concept to an actual company, well, it's a journey. It's all about learning, listening, and, being ready to completely change course. So how does that simple idea, born in a classroom, actually turn into something that works in the real world? Let's break down their playbook. All right, first things first. The students weren't just told, hey, go invent something cool. No. Their mission started with finding a genuine human need, a real pain point. Because let's be honest, the most powerful innovations, they don't start with some brilliant solution. They start with a deep, deep empathy for someone's problem. Okay, let's take a look at a team called See Together. They decided to focus on a massive community that's often overlooked, and what they found was just staggering. In India alone, there are 12 million visually impaired people. Now, that's not just a statistic, that's a huge potential customer base facing real challenges every single day. So what kind of challenges are we talking about? Well, the team went out and spoke to people, and they found that the real pain points were in these small, everyday tasks that most of us just take for granted. Things like checking the expiration date on medicine, trying to figure out colors when you're shopping, or just finding your way around a new place. These are the problems that really need a solution. Now, this whole process, it's not just for social ventures. Let's switch gears and look at another team, Spaced. They pointed their lens at the corporate world. And what they found was that a whopping 65% of office employees are dealing with stress on a regular basis. A totally different problem, right? But the same exact starting point. And why should a business care about this? Well, because stress isn't just a personal feeling. The team figured out that it leads directly to a lack of concentration, which means inefficiency. And that's the kicker. This is a business problem. It hits productivity and it hits the bottom line. Okay, so you found a real problem. Now comes what is maybe the most important step of all. You have to listen. You have to listen to the people who are actually living with that problem every day. Because, as these students quickly discovered, your first brilliant idea for a solution, it's almost always wrong. This right here is a total game changer for your mindset. One of the students from the See Together team said it perfectly. They learned to sell before they build. What does that even mean? It means you have to go out and test your idea. You have to validate it with real users before you spend a single second or a single dollar actually building the thing. And you can see this exact principle in action with See Together. Their first idea was a physical gadget, a braille stamper. Seemed logical. But then they talked to users, and they found out people actually preferred human interaction. They needed help in their own regional languages, which AI can really struggle with. So they pivoted. They threw out the hardware idea and came up with a digital service that connects users to sighted volunteers through a video call. Team Spaced went through the same thing. They started with a cool VR product for stress relief. But guess what their user interviews showed? Employees wanted to socialize more, not be isolated inside a VR headset. And the HR departments? They weren't looking to buy a bunch of expensive one-off products. They needed a flexible, scalable platform for wellness. And just like that, you see this brilliant pivot from a single product to a full-blown service. So, you have a solution that people actually want, and it solves a real problem. That's awesome. But it's not a business. Not yet. The next step is figuring out how to make this thing last. How does it actually create value? And how does it capture some of that value so it can keep going? This is where the business model comes in. For the See Together team, their model looked something like this. First, they realized they had two customer segments, the visually impaired users and the volunteers who help them. Their unique value? It's that human touch in a world of automated tech. They planned to reach people through NGOs and app stores, and they'd fund it with a mix of small user fees, grants, and corporate sponsorships. Now, this piece of feedback from a mentor, it was a complete paradigm shift for the team. The mentor asked, "Why are you thinking of them as just beneficiaries? Aren't they customers?" This completely reframed their thinking. They weren't just helping people, they were serving a powerful, untapped market of 12 million customers who have real needs and purchasing power. It changes the whole conversation from charity to commerce. Throughout this whole entire process, there's one resource that's just absolutely invaluable: mentorship. Having that outside expert who can challenge you, who can poke holes in your ideas, and who can force you to think way bigger and more strategically, it's a must. So a mentor asked the space team this simple but critical question, and it forced them to realize that their competition wasn't just other VR apps. No, they were competing for the HR department's budget against everything else. I'm talking a new coffee machine, a ping pong table, you name it. And that realization completely changes how you have to position your product. Here's another killer question from a mentor. Are you trying to get people to adopt a new behavior using a new kind of device that's also sustainably made? Mentors are great at helping you focus by asking, just how many really hard things are you trying to do all at once? It forces you to prioritize what actually matters to get your idea off the ground. And sometimes the feedback isn't a question, it's a direct path forward. A mentor pointed out to the See Together team that, hey, some users really want independence, while others are looking for that human assistance. The advice was brilliant. Don't force them into one box. Give them a choice. Offer a basic AI for simple tasks and the human volunteer service for more complex stuff. It makes the whole product more valuable to more people. So, what have we learned here? Building something new, it's really not about having that one perfect idea right from the start. It's messy. It's an iterative journey. It's a constant cycle of building something, testing it, learning from it, and adapting. So here it is, the playbook. And it's actually pretty simple. You start with a real, meaningful problem. You listen, really listen to your users. You have to be ready to throw your first idea in the trash. You build a sustainable business model around what works. And finally, you never, ever underestimate the power of getting expert guidance. And look, if you're out there dreaming up your own idea, this piece of wisdom from one of the professors should make you feel a whole lot better. The journey of changing and adapting your idea, that's not a sign that you're failing. That's literally the definition of the path to success. The playbook is pretty clear, and the process, it works. It really just proves that innovation is a skill. It's something you can learn and practice. It's a journey of discovery, not some final destination. So the only question left is, what problem are you going to solve?
So that was a brief overview of the entire 2 hours content in just a few minutes. What we'll also do is we'll do a visual summary of it. I'll not be taking much of a time in describing them, but it will give you a visual snapshot of who were the speakers, what was their comment about. So right now, what you see is Professor P.M. Rao, and he was basically mentor and guiding to this particular team, See Together, who are basically dealing with the visually impaired individuals, and they were trying to solve their problems, their needs through their offerings. So that is what they proposed, See Together, which was basically an app which connected the sighted with the visually impaired. And then they also made certain incentives for the people who are basically assisting, because there has to be certain motivation for them to volunteer. And then this was the feedback given from Mr. Rao. And what are the motivations which can be there for beneficiaries? What is their value proposition for the two stakeholders? And how the design for accessibility has been achieved through screen magnifiers, text to speech, colorblind mode, and other features. And then the overall comments by Professor Nikhil. All right. Then it was Professor Rupesh as well, who also gave his particular feedback on this particular group. So this is their business thesis, as in the entire proposition, which has been narrowed down to the very specific what is they're trying to build, who are they helping, what is their need, and their competitors. Then comes Mr. Purushottam from the World Economic Forum, and he gave his scripts and feedback to the team Spaced, which was again a group of four students. This was the lean canvas, and how might we help the offices make their employees work life better and stress free. That was their problem area, and they so this is basically called the market study, wherein you try and see what are the current players in the market, how are they dealing with this situation, what is it that they're offering, right? And then he had few questions which the team was responding. Then there was Chandrasekhar sir as well who asked a question. And this is their business thesis, which is about making life for office employees stress free. So their context is office space. Okay. And if you recall, the first context was the visually impaired. Okay. Then comes the third team, which is the Hocus Focus. Again, it's a group of five students who came on together for this particular offering, and they had come up with a headgear which had targeted micro vibration tactile sensations, which could aid you to focus more while you are meditating. So they had a different domain altogether. And then again, there were some questions, and then it was followed by Professor Dinesh Purjan and Professor Nakul, who gave feedback to the team Maverick. These were the four individuals who were basically working as a team together, and their context was the kids and children in a particular age group. And so they actually had come up with a prototype. They did some user testing with their classmates, and they came up with this particular offering. They also had got feedback from Professor Dinesh and Professor Nakul, as well as Professor Shahid. So this was their offering, which was about an interactive game which helps the parents and play school teachers to engage their kids in tangible products. So they're trying to cut down on the screen time, and that was their main intent, which is unlike any other digital platform. Okay. Then came in Professor Anuradha. She's a professor of practice at IIT Bombay, and Professor Peer Satish, and they gave feedback to this team, which was working on Minimart, which was about utilizing and making maths learning as an enjoyable activity rather than as a stress among the students. So yet again, they had few questions which were being responded to by the team. Minimart, which is a math game design, it helps the teachers and the parents who want to reduce or lower their anxiety of learning mathematics. All right, unlike any other traditional classroom teacher. Now, please start the question and answer session. And here is your first question. According to Professor P.V.M. Rao, what are the major aspects to consider while addressing the needs of the visually challenged? All right. The options are independence, color choices, social integrations, and language learning. So for each questions, we'll be having around 3 to 4 minutes, not more than that. And what you can do is you can read the question a couple of times, go through the answers given here, and let me know what could be the correct answer through your chat box. And eventually we'll discuss what the correct answer is through screen validation. All right. So now the time begins. Think about it, reflect upon the content, and let me know the correct answer through the chat message. We are referring to the first team which was working with the visually impaired, and what was there happening. You can take a minute, think about the question, reflect upon what you have read, and you can use the chat box. One option. Okay, so there is also a question in the chat box about how will the options be allocated for each questions, like four options or six or eight. Um, so usually and typically what I have seen in the last couple of times is that you get one question with at most four options, but this also differs course wise. So in this particular course, up till now, what I've seen is maximum of four options. All right, this is what I've seen up till now, but you never know how the pattern would be in the upcoming thing. So I can tell you what has happened in the previous times. All right. Take your time. Let me know the correct answer. Again, it is not going to be marked. We are not going to judge you. It is only there for your understanding. There is no marking involved in these questions. It is only to help you understand the content and also make you realize how much you have absorbed. And it's like a mock test for you guys. You have the question right in front of you. Take your time, reflect upon the question. Question is about what were the major aspects to consider while addressing the needs of visually challenged, right? Um, there are aspects. It has to be considered while addressing the needs of visually impaired. Okay. जिसको हम हिंदी में दृष्टि बाधित भी कहते हैं. Okay. Those who are unable to see, visually impaired, दृष्टि बाधित Janmanas. So, what are the major aspects to consider while addressing the needs of the visually challenged? Is it about being independent? Is it about having color choices? Is it about social integration? Or is it about language learning? So, you got a couple of minutes more. We've got one vote for option D. Okay. Let's see if there is any other response, any other thoughts on this particular question. So last minute, and then we'll discuss the correct answer. Last 1 minute, anybody who would want to share their thoughts, their opinion, what could be the correct answer of this question? In the context of the first team, if you remember, the team name was C Together. That is one of the hints which I can give to you guys right now. And during that discussion with the team, Professor Rao clearly highlighted the aspects to consider while addressing the needs of visually challenged. Right. Okay. Let's have a look at the correct answer. So he made a few comments. If you recall, the product does not require much investment. So the product here refers to the app, See Together app. Okay. It's a mobile application, which means through the phone, basically through the phone camera, you can actually see what the people are seeing, and then the volunteers can tell you, okay, this is this color, this is this device, or this is this product. Okay. Yes. Instead of saying AI or human, you can give a choice. So basically, this choice was given when they were referring to the volunteer part. So they could have AI based volunteers, but they could also have manual volunteers. So he suggested that the choice needs to be given to the people who are actually making use of it, those are visually impaired. Okay. You can also give an option to either choose from volunteer work or in return for some remuneration. So it could be a choice of the volunteers if they want some money out of it, some incentives out of it, or they just want to volunteer, do it free of cost. They want to add to their positive karma. Okay. So if you see the responses below the line, we usually look at one use case, but when you interact with more people, you realize there are many use cases. The two major aspects are to make them independent and to socially integrate them. Them is basically the visually challenged. All right. So the correct answers are to make the visually challenged more independent and to be able to integrate them in the social context. What do we mean by this? To be able to integrate them in the social context. Social integration का क्या मतलब है? Anybody who can tell? What do we mean by independence? I believe all of you understand. It basically means being independent to carry out certain tasks, being independent to roam around, being independent to make choices, being independent in and making selections of what they want, and they can identify that. Social integration. If anybody would want to answer, anyone in the group present here. Okay. Social integration means that how you are able to integrate them in the social context of society or the social fabric, which means that uh, they are also able to take part equally in various society level activities, whether it is about utilizing and visiting parks, or that there are now gyms in the park. They're able to use those gyms. They are able to freely walk around, the pedestrian. They are able to intermix with the society level. So that is what we are referring to as social integration. All right. Let's move on to our second question. The question is, according to Dr. Rupesh Ghar, what was his advice to the team See Together? working to address the needs of visually challenged. So yet again, it is with respect to the first team, if you recall, and then it was Dr. Rupesh who also joined in the feedback with Professor Rao, PVM Rao, and you need to tell what was his advice. He also gave certain advice to the team. What was his advice? The options are looking at visually challenged as investors, looking at visually challenged as employers, looking at visually challenged as customers and potential buyers, and looking them as volunteers. Okay. Now you've got four choices. Keep a note that this is a square based question, which means there are multiple correct answers. All right. So you need to tell us what was the advice given by offered by Dr. Rupesh to the team C together, and basically how they are seeing the visually challenged as. Should they be seen as investors, employers, customers, and potential buyers, or as volunteers? All right. So that is how you have put it. Okay. So once again, what you can do is you can let me know the correct answer and take some time, read the question, try to reflect upon what was taught, what was discussed in the content, and then we can see the correct answer. Okay. So again, take a few minutes and let me know the answer which you think would be the right one. So again, you have a few minutes to reflect upon, think about the question, reflect the content which you have gone through, and let me know the correct answer. We are trying to understand what was the advice which was offered by Dr. Rupesh to the same team. Professor Rao in the previous question had shared an advice of seeing them independent and to help them integrate socially. However, in this question, it was Dr. Rupesh who suggested the team uh, a different way to look at the visually challenged. The options given to you are right in front of you: investors, employers, customers, potential buyers, and the volunteers. Last couple of minutes. Yeah. We have taken enough time for this question. Let's proceed to know what the correct answer is. So, if you refer to the comments by Mr. Rupesh and or Dr. Rupesh, he suggested that there are around 12 million visually impaired people in India. And if you see this large number, it's a huge number, they can become a pool of customers who have buying power. Considering them as customers rather than people who need help can be a different way of looking at it. All right. So, so they could also be investors if they have a good money with them. There could be people who have good amount of money, yet they are visually challenged, or it was because of an accident that they got visually challenged. And they can also be your customers and potential buyers. Okay, they can be seen as consumers rather than the segment which needs help. All right. Let's move on to the third question. The team of Project Maverick mentioned about Baghdad Gerber's philosophy for children as RIE, which is. So you need to tell what the Magda's philosophy RIE is. Is it about respect for infant education? Is it about resources for infant educators? Rise of entrepreneurship or rethink the incubation and entrepreneurship? Meanwhile, I'll just have a quick look at the recording. What is happening? Yes, yes, recording is continuously on. And we check out the learners and the messages if there are any. All right. Okay. We are referring to the team of Project Maverick. Remember, they were trying to build toys, games for children, for kids. They refer to a philosophy of Magna, and you need to tell what that philosophy for children, which has been termed as RIE. Is it about respect for infant education, resources for infant educators, rise of entrepreneurship, and rethink the incubation and entrepreneurship? So, again, you have a few minutes, reflect upon the question, what you have gone through, and we'll see the correct answer. Okay, got one vote for option B. All right, let's see if there are other people who would like to comment on what could be the right answer. Got one vote as of now. Philosophy for Children, RIE. It's basically an abbreviation, so you need to tell what is it about. Philosophy, RIE, what does it mean? What does it abbreviate to? The options are right in front of you. Okay, let's see the correct answer. So this is the screenshot from the content which was shared by the team. And if you see at the bottom, the principles, the philosophy for children was known as RIE, which is Resources for Infant Educators. The educating approach believes parents and caretakers must have respect for infants and trust that they are natural inventors, explorers, and self learners. Gerber says infants should be viewed and spoken to in ways that allows them to become active participants in their daily lives. In her opinion, infants should be left to explore safe environments with little adult interaction. Right? So the correct answer, if you have noticed, is very clearly option B, as rightly mentioned by one of our learners. It is resources for infant educators. Very well done. Let's go to our next question. Question number 4. What is the function of See Together's proposed digital product? Okay. Is it to provide emotional support and companionship? Is it to translate text to speech and vice versa? Is it to connect visually impaired people with sighted volunteers for assistance? Or to offer educational resources and training programs? Now, these are radio button questions, which means there is a single correct answer. Okay. Again, use Gmeet chat to respond to what you think is the correct answer. And we'll soon let you know what is the correct answer along with why it is the correct answer. Okay. You have to refer to team See Together. Try to recall their offering. Let me give you a hint. It was a mobile based offering. All right. Take a few minutes, reflect upon the content. I think it's quite a direct one. If you've gone through the content and you have seen it diligently, you'll be able to respond to the question very easily. Right? Let's see the correct answer of this question. I think we have got enough time. Okay. So this is the See Together team, and this was the screen validation. If you see, I suggested a hint. This is the mobile app. So just imagine this is held by the visually impaired, and he would is trying to ask that what color do the person see? And sighted volunteer can actually help and say that, okay, it's a green colored dress which has a floral print in different colors, right? Or in the other scenario, the visually impaired can do a video call, a live video call, and ask the sighted volunteer into what obstructions could he see, is it safe to walk, or there are any vehicles coming in front of him, right? So it is about bringing sight to the blind and visually challenged people. We aim to build an app that connects blind and low vision people with sighted volunteers for visual assistance through a live video call. Okay. So again, a very direct question. Now I believe we'll be able to guess the answer. Yes, it is option C, which is to connect the visually impaired people with sighted volunteers for assistance. And we did see two examples, right? If you see in the previous one, say, for example, the visually impaired had gone to Pantaloons or Max, and that person is looking for a dress but is confused with the colors. That person might be low vision or visually challenged. And that is where the sighted volunteer can tell about the color in the pattern. And the second scenario is about navigating through streets. While walking around, they can get a help from a sighted volunteer. Okay. So the correct answer of question number 4 is C, to connect visually impaired with the sighted volunteers for assistance. All right. Let's go to our fifth question. For the question raised by Professor Kaushik in lecture 26 on the top 3 reasons for stress among office employees, what was the response by the team spaced? Okay. Very interesting question. The options are long working hours, people not having a change of space, less break time, and no time for meals. Okay. So you need to tell the top 3 reasons for stress among the office employees. We have got one more for option B, but if you remember, it's written top 3 reasons. So I'm assuming that there will be 3 correct answers. Okay. And as we can see, it's a multi select question. So yes, there could be multiple correct answers. So you have to think through all these perspectives. Again, take a few minutes, reflect upon the content. We are talking about a different professor. It is Professor Kaushik. And he asked one of the teams, which is the space team, about what are the top 3 reasons of stress among the office employees. You need to tell what is the correct answer to it. think we have taken enough time for this question. Let's see the correct answer of this question by going through the stream validation. So it is Professor Purushottam Kaushik who is responding, and he asked the question about what are the top three reasons for stress among the office employees. And the team responded with four options, which was long working hours, people not having a change of space, less break time, and huge amount of workload. All right. So the correct answers to the questions are three of them, which is long working hours, people not having a change of space, and less break time. Right? These are the correct responses to the question. I think one of the learners were able to crack one of the options. Yes. Let's go to the fifth question. In fact, sixth question. Yes. The project Mini Mart is about Dash, which allows kids to enjoy Dash by creating a real time scenario of it works in everyday life. I think there will be a how. Okay. So if we have got two blanks, first blank and the second blank, and you can see how the fill in the blanks have been used while utilizing the single selection question. Okay. So there are two blanks and it is related to the project Minimart. You need to tell what the first blank is about and the second one as well by creating a real time scenario of how it works in everyday life. The options are board game, mobile gaming app, shopping mall, and book. While the second option is maths, English, purchases, and play. It's a very direct question. I don't think the question can be as direct as this one. If you have seen the content, you will be able to grasp it and inform the correct answer. It's very very direct. It's related to the mini mart, and if you recall, mini mart is about Dash, which allows the kids to enjoy Dash by creating a real time scenario of how it works in everyday life. That is the question. Take your time. Let me know the correct answer. The project Minimart is about what? Is it a board game, mobile game, shopping mall, or a book? and which allows kids to enjoy maths, English, purchases, or play. Anybody who would like to answer the question? Your options are very, very critical. You've got one vote as of now for option A. So let's see if the option A is correct. So Minimart allows kids to enjoy maths by creating a real-time scenario of how maths works in everyday life. So helping students enjoy maths by removing the pressure of formulas and numbers and by creating a real-time scenario which indirectly shows how we can apply math in the real world. Math magic, teaching the application and formulas in real life, making the life of the child easier. All right. So the correct answer, as one of you has suggested, it is option A, which is to have a board game which allows kids to enjoy maths. Very well done. Correct answer is option A. Let's proceed to question number 7. What is the main function of hocus focus headgear? Right? If you remember, it was one of the teams which came up with this idea of an headgear. Is it for playing music for relaxation, or for monitoring the brain waves during meditation, or creating a targeted tactile sensations for focus during meditation, or to block out the external noise? Okay, you've got four options. Again, it's a very direct one. If you remember, it was something like this. Yeah, it's just a quick hint. I'm just sketching. So it was obviously a headgear. Headgear means something which has to be needs to be placed on the head. Okay. So you need to tell what the correct answer is. You've got a couple of minutes to respond to the question. What was the function of Focus Focus headgear? Is it for relaxation, for meditation, in monitoring the brain waves, or to create a sensation, which is the tactile sensation for focus during meditation, or to block out the external noise? If we have noise cancelling headphones, yeah, something similar to that. We have got a vote for option C. Let's see if there are any other response to this question. Take a couple of minutes. Let me know the correct answer. The main function of Focus Focus headgear. All right, let's see the correct answer. So hocus pocus is a headgear. It's clearly mentioned in the question with targeted micro vibration to create tactile sensations for better focus during the meditation. Okay, so which means you'll get some kind of a physical sensation. That's what the tactile means. There is some kind of an physical feel which you'll be receiving when you are wearing this particular headgear. So this is how they have expanded upon the materials, the air mesh fabric, charcoal fiber, and then this spandex blend for the fabric. All right. So as rightly mentioned by one of the learners, it is option C, which is the correct answer. The function of the hocus pocus headgear is to create targeted tactile sensations for focus during the meditation. Very well done. Good. Okay, let's refer to question number 8. Again, with respect to the week 11 content, which amongst these are the important insights given by Professor Nakul as discussed in the Maverick project by Team 4? If you remember the Maverick project, it was for the kids to accommodate design to ensure that it adds value to the existing gameplay. The same idea can be pivoted where the game can be made more useful for the special kids to accommodate the right kind of business pitch and implement strategies accordingly, and to accommodate the right kind of game to the right age group, which instills their motor, cognitive, and analytical skills. All right. It's a bit long question, but if you try and contemplate, understand slowly, you'll be able to figure out what the question is asking and the correct answer as well. Okay. Here you need to tell us the important insights what Professor Nakul Parmeshwar had given to the team Maverick. Okay. We also had feedback from Professor Dinesh Kurjan. I think Dinesh Kurjan, yeah. So these are the four options. And what could be the right answer? It's a multi-select question, which means there could be multiple correct answers. Okay, let's wait. Last 1 minute to respond to the question by Professor Nakul. The insights which were given to the team, Maverick. All right, let's see the correct answer. Let's see the content validation. So, if you are looking at complementing the existing game, then you have to accommodate your design to ensure that it adds value to the existing gameplay. You have to accommodate the right kind of game to age group, which instills their motor, cognitive, and analytical skills. Okay. The same idea can be pivoted and the game can be made useful for special kids. So, the correct answers to the questions are A, B, and the last is D, which is about accommodate design to ensure that it adds value to the existing gameplay, make it more usable for special kids, and which instills motor, cognitive, and analytical skills. Right? Let's go to our ninth question. As per the business thesis of Space, their service helps in finding ways to make life easier for dash stress free and keep them happy and satisfied while working. So you need to tell us what the target audience. We are basically trying to find the target audience for the group spaced. All right. Options are office employees, domestic helps, women entrepreneurs, and factory workers. Whom were they trying to make life easier through their service offering as per the team spaced? Interesting. Very quickly, we have got one vote for option A. Let's wait for a minute more and let's see if someone else also respond to the question. The team is spaced. They were trying to make life easier for which user type? Office employees, domestic helps, women entrepreneurs, and factory workers. Let's see the correct answer. The service based helps finding ways to make life for office employees stress free and keep them happy and satisfied while working, who belong to focus groups or work at odd hours in the offices to increase efficiency of work and better productivity and reduce the chances of errors by the employees, unlike just buying something for the few employees, organizing events, blah blah blah. All right. So I would like to highlight here that although the question has been framed from this particular aspect, but it can also be framed from these aspects. Okay. So it would be good if you are able to read the business thesis of all student projects. It will give you a very good insight. At one place, you'll be able to see all their primary offerings. Who are they targeting to? Right. So, as mentioned by one of the learners, the correct answer is office employees. Very well done. Right. Let's reach out to our 10th question. Complete the following sentence as mentioned by Professor A. Narasimha, referring to the mini mart project, which again was related to maths, right? Remember? The solution of a project product would flow from dash the customer segment, which will arise from more research and understanding. So the solution of a project will flow from defining the customer segment, pivoting the customer segment, pinpointing the customer segment, or validating the customer segment. It's a tricky one. It's a very close one, right? So you have to be very observant if you have gone through the content to answer this one. But let's see. Let's see if you're able to crack this. Because in the exam you might get questions as tricky as this one. Okay, take some time. Let me know what would be the correct answer. Anyone who would like to comment on this question, make your choice. What could be the correct answer? We've got one vote for option A. All right. Okay. Let's see the correct answer. So these were the comments by Professor Anuradha for the team. And if you focus on this particular question, if the child is from the standard first to third, then the parent is the buyer. If the child is from fourth standard and above, then they are the buyer. Okay. The solution of a project will flow from pinpointing the customer segment, which will arise from more research and understanding, also from the understanding of existing alternatives. Okay, so it's a very, very interesting part of the study. Wherein she's saying that if you are between class 1 to 3rd, then the parents are the buyer, but the moment children reach the fourth class or the fourth standard and above, they are the decision makers. They become buyers. All right, very interesting. So the correct answer here is pinpointing the customer segment. All right. So the correct answer is option C, which is to pinpointing the customer segment. All right. Okay. Let's come to our question number 11. What was the core feature of C Together app for visually impaired that distinguished it from the existing AI based solutions? All right. Once again, we are coming back to the C Together app. Options are it integrated advanced text to braille conversion technology. It focused exclusively on helping with monetary transactions. It used AI to automatically describe the user's surroundings, and it provided round the clock live assistance from sighted human volunteers. Again, a very direct question. Take a couple of minutes and let me know the correct answer. Question relates to the See Together app. You need to tell us how it distinguished from the other solutions which were AI based. You've got four options in front of you, and one of them is correct. Core feature of the See Together app for visually impaired that distinguished it from the existing AI solutions. We have not received any of the responses yet from any of the participants. So let's take a look at the correct answer. And if you recall, it was about a mobile app that connected the visually impaired with the sighted volunteers, right? So the option D is the correct one. It provided round the clock live assistance from sighted human volunteers. Alright. Option D is the correct one. Now, if you see the presentation emphasizes adding a human touch and connecting users with volunteers via live video call as its primary value proposition. Alright. Let's go to question number 12. The spaced team's business model evolved significantly after the initial research. What was the fundamental shift that they made? Okay. They shifted from B2B to B2C, targeting individual employees, from product based solution to a service based subscription, from targeting large corporations to only startups, and from a physical relaxation space to a purely digital app. Okay. You have to tell us in the business model how they evolved the team spaced. So meanwhile, I'll just quickly check the recording part. It's critical because we need to upload these videos. So yes, it is on. Great. And I'll quickly check the people who are present right now. So there are a few of them still here. All right. Okay. Let's see the correct answers. It was from product based solution to a service based subscription. The team realized a one off product purchase was not scalable and pivoted to a subscription service offering wide range of wellness activities. So the correct answer is option B, shifting from product based to a service based subscription. All right. Coming to our 13th question, the Minimart board game was developed to address maths anxiety. By what does the game teach mathematical concepts? Is it by solving abstract puzzles and equations, by simulating a market scenario into buying, selling, and loans, by integrating it with a digital app for calculations, or by requiring players to memorize multiplication tables? I think it's a quite clear one, quite direct one. Just think about it. Let me know. Anyone who would like to respond to the question? All right. I think we have got enough time for this. Let's see the correct answer. It's very direct. It is simulating the market scenario, which involves buying, selling, and loans. Okay, the game mechanics are built around a real-time market scenario to teach concepts like profit loss, interest in the practical politics. So the correct answer is option B. Let's reach to our 14th question, and it says, "What?" Oh, so sorry. What was the key advice or feedback the Hocus Pocus team received that led to change their problem statement to be facilitating the stress reduction? Okay. The options are A, user preferred physical activities like household chores for satisfaction. The headgear was causing mild headaches in some users. Users found it difficult to sit still with their own thoughts, and professional meditation coaches did not approve of assistive tools. The key piece of advice the Hocus Pocus team received that led to change their problem statement to be facilitating the stress reduction. Okay, we've got no more response. Anybody who would like to respond can use the chat box as it has been used by the other members. Let's see the correct answer. Users found it difficult to sit still with their own thoughts. Okay. The interviews revealed a key barrier to meditation for amateurs is the difficulty of calming the mind and sitting with one's thoughts, which their tool aims to help. Okay. So if you see the various meditation practices, they ask you to do not entertain the thoughts. Just even if you are getting thoughts, just let them go. Do not hold on to it. Do not start weaving around it. Okay, let it pass. Let it go. All right. Question number 15. During the presentation for the app of visually impaired, what crucial piece of advice did Professor Rupesh offer regarding the target demographic? To view them as potential customer base for brands rather than just beneficiaries, to narrow down the target demographic to only literate, to focus on AI because users value independence, and to ensure the app is provided completely free of charge to the government grants. I think we have already done a question which is very close to this. If you recall, we are talking about the team C together, and it was Professor PVM Rao and Professor Upesh who had given them the feedback. And there was one question which was very close to this particular question. Take a minute and let me know the correct answer. We are talking about what was the advice given by Professor Rupesh regarding the target demographic. Okay. We had a question just before which was very close to this one. I hope you'll be able to handle this one as well. So we'll wait for a minute and then we'll discuss the correct answer. Right. I think we've taken enough time. Let's see the correct answer. It's very direct one. It is about viewing them as potential customers. He suggested a paradigm shift, framing the 12 million visually impaired people in India as an untapped market for business. Okay, so considering them as a potential customer was something he responded to. Question 16. What was the initial product concept that the team behind See Together app explored before pivoting to their final idea? Was it subscription service for sighted guides, AI powered camera that could identify colors, a textured braille product for printing on medicine strips, and a text to speech mobile application? So, this is what they are referring to as their first idea, after which they pivoted it to the sighted and the visually impaired app. All right. Okay. So since we have already seen the answer, let's just quickly get through the answer. It was about a textured braille product for printing on the medicine strips. The team initially worked upon a physical product called Brainstem to put braille markings on the items like medicine strips. Right. Coming to question number 17. According to the team Spaced, why would this subscription service be beneficial for office HR and admin departments? The options are it provided a single solution for all employees want, it reduced the paperwork and processes for registering multiple vendors, it was significantly cheaper than buying any recreational equipment, and it eliminated the need of a employee welfare fund. Okay. Little tricky question, but then if you have been gone through the content diligently, I think you'll be able to guess the correct answer. Uh, so, why was the subscription service beneficial for HR? What was the takeaways for them? Why would they want to take this subscription service? That is what you have to reply upon. Is it because of a single solution? Is it because of the hassle of registering the multiple vendors? Or was it cheaper? Or was it about it eliminated the need of an EWF, which is the Employee Welfare Fund? Well, the correct answer is option B, because it reduced paperwork and process of registering multiple vendors. The team identified that organizing different activities required separate vendor registrations, and their platform would consolidate this into a single service. So, no more multiple vendors. Through their platform, they'll be able to get all the services through that one particular thing. All right. Okay. Coming on to the 18th question. The Maverick game for children used several components to encourage creativity. What were the primary materials provided in the game? Now, this is a very, very interesting question because we are not trying to ask what the game was about, how it was being played, what is the target audience, but it gets into the detail of what were the primary materials involved. Okay, very interesting. So even if you have got one glimpse of that game, you'll be able to crack it. The options are clay with various colors of dye stamps, digital tablets and stylus, building blocks and instruction manuals, and paint brushes and canvas. Very direct question, very interesting question. If you have been through the content, if you have seen the content recap, or just one glimpse of what the Maverick game was about, I think it's a very interesting question. Anyone who would like to respond to this question? A very interesting question, but a very observation based question. Okay, we have got one vote for option A. Let's see the correct answer. Correct. Very well done by the learner. The game core element were involved rolling a dice to get instructions and then using clay and stamps to create shapes. Very well. Very well done. Good. Coming on to our second last question. What sustainable material did Minimart team propose for production of their board games? Was it recycled plastic, spandex and silk blend, hemp wood, or bamboo charcoal fiber? Now, do not confuse it with another offerings, which was a headgear based offering. Okay, because it also has certain materials which are in this. So if you get confused between the two products, the answering this question might be a little tricky. So this is the Minimart one. All right, let's see the correct answer. It is the hemp wood. The team highlighted hemp wood as a sustainable material, which is stronger, lighter, and grows faster than the traditional wood. All right. And with that, we come to our last question of the session. And the question is, according to the team See Together, what was significant non-monetary incentive that they plan to offer to the volunteers? Okay. Remember the volunteers, what will they get? Will there be any motivation or not? So what was the non-monetary incentive? Was it about free premium subscriptions, certificates that could be added to their resumes, direct employment opportunities, or the ability to choose which beneficiary they wanted to help? We're talking about the incentives, non-monetary incentives. Which among them is the incentive? Last question. Let us see. Let us see if anybody would like to attempt it. What were the non-monetary incentive they plan to offer the volunteers? Free premium subscriptions, certificates to be added to their resumes, employment opportunities, or they had the ability that which beneficiary they should help. Okay, let's see the correct answer. It was the certificates that could be added to their resumes. Okay, providing a verifiable certificates for their social work, possibly in collaboration with companies like Internshala, which would be a strong incentive. All right. So with that, we conclude the questions. The discussion forum questions are being responded to. You can visit the group and understand. And with that, we conclude today's session. Let me stop my screen sharing. All right. So thanks a lot. Thank you so much. And it was interesting to have you all guys there participating, talking, discussing. And eventually, I think many of you participated in the questions, responded to the right questions. And I'm extremely happy that there was participations among you guys. So with that, let us conclude the session and let me stop the recording.